The cumulative impacts mode of suffering in the modern world. Article by Gary Sharp. This imposed stress is detrimental, in particular for autistics.
A stress-filled life, a fear-fueled existence, an addiction to adrenaline, anxious thoughts going round and round, the tightening of shoulders, constrictions around the neck, body-mind signals being mangled, panic on the ascendant, stomach muscles cramp, the gut upset, the bowels also burn, irritated. The modern workplace, the mountains of work to be done, bodies static, fixed in physiologically wrong shapes, for far too long. Posture is not the priority, the hunching of backs, back to neck pain, a pinch point. Too much congestion in the carotid tunnel. Too much strain on the jugular superhighways passing through. Nutrient and nerve traffic in the gut-brain axis disrupted. The daily diet, the junk food, the processed chemicals, the gluten and lactose, the sweet sugar, feeding the stomach's stress symptoms. But the body's needs are unsatisfied. Nourishment for anxieties and depression, not fuel for brain's proper functions. Stressful living feeding back to food, the comfort eating. See a serpent swallow its own tail. A gut unbalanced, too much sweet sugar, too much yeast, too many man-made chemicals. The tale of the H. pylori and the candida. Not enough vital minerals. Amino acids never in abundance. A famine of natural nutrients. An infection. Bad bacteria on the rise. Excessive antibiotics. The good bacteria dying. More malabsorption of already negligible nutrients. Allergens in the air, toxins in the water, poison in the ground, the impossible plans made real, effects unknown, outcomes unobserved, unproven, the great experiment of the human race. The natural world overflows with unnaturals, new environments external to our evolution. The immune system put to the test, straining whole systems of body's biology, permanent pressures to survive in the self-made chemical storm. The penultimate blow, another to the neck. An injury on the kinetic chain, the foot, the knee, the hip, the back, the shoulder, the neck itself, the jaw. Anywhere will do. Permanent panic stations of damaged carotid bodies. A bona fide bottleneck, more disruption to brain's nutritional flow. Neurons misfire, cells begin to die. No escape for their excesses and excreta. Toxins build and build. The gray matter perishes. The stressful cycle turns more vicious. A plethora of physical pain, more angst, more mental anguish. The nail in the coffin is now hammered home. Healthcare and biological sciences systems centered on ultra-specialism, the myopic focus, the short-sighted thinking, the whole picture unseen. This panoramic perspective not taken. Neuros only seeing the neurodegenerations. Announce it's brain disease.
This great article was shared by Gary Sharp in the Vegas study group Trauma and body memories may get us stuck in hide or seek behaviors where past stress events cloud our experiences of what is happening in the present. We may hide from our past via distractions or seek relief from it through addictive behaviors. Quote, "We also know from horror or war films and thrillers what hide responses look like in humans. While the freeze response that occurs when caught out in the open tends to be a highly dissociative experience with significant cognitive and sensory impairment, a person hiding behind a wall, say, is still alert, very conscious of what is happening, actively listening and ready and primed to run again if they are detected. They may voluntarily hold their breath if the danger is near, whereas in freeze, the respiratory suppression is automatic. The person hiding can relax once the danger passes and then re-emerge into the open, like the meerkats. In our modern society, there are many dangers we may want to hide from, including social dangers such as embarrassing, awkward, or confrontational situations, bullies at school or work, the threat of losing our job, etc. In many cases, the modern types of danger may be ever present, such that the perceived threat never passes, and hence folk can get stuck in the hide response. Either they can never relax, or they can only relax while still in their burrow, but never feel safe in re-emerging into the world. This stuckness might manifest as agoraphobia, not wanting to leave the safety of the house, or hiding in the toilets. This made me remember Panksepp's research on the seeking system, which was mentioned by Temple Grandin. The neuropsychology of the seeking system. Panksepp, the founder of the field of affective neuroscience, has for a long time made the point that studies of emotional and other affective systems of animals will shed a profound light on the nature of our own feelings. It is assumed that so-called primal emotions such as fear are associated with ancient parts of the brain and evolved among our pre-mammal ancestors, and that social emotions evolved among social primates. As a concept, it was proposed that a disbalance between two dichotomic systems, the seeking system promoting positive euphoric drive and anticipation of reward, and the panic system promoting the feeling of separation distress, plays a major role in the clinical syndrome of depression. The acute effects, all patients showed clear effects of increased appetitive motivation. All patients showed explorative behavior. They visually searched the room instantaneously. They reported motivational behavior such as an increased interest in travel or other activities they would not have performed for years. In our understanding, these are clear signs of what is best explained as seeking behavior. Jaak Panksepp has identified 7 basic emotional systems across species: seeking, fear, rage, lust, care, panic, and playfulness. In this quote, he suggests, while we are hardwired for optimism normally, it is evident that the seeking expectancy system is a general purpose system for obtaining all kinds of resources that exist in the world, from nuts to knowledge, so to speak. In short, it participates in all appetitive behaviors that precede consummation. It generates the urge to search for any and all of the fruits of the environment. It energizes the dynamic eagerness for positive experiences, from tasty food to sexual possibilities to political power. It galvanizes people and animals to overcome dangers, either by opposing them or by escaping to safety. It invigorates humans and prompts us to engage in the grand task of creating civilizations. But in the beginning, at birth, it is just a goad without a goal that opens up the gateways to engagement with the world and hence knowledge. In the care home, I have witnessed residents getting very agitated if they are taken out of their room for room cleaning purposes, beg to be allowed to return, and can't relax until they are back in there. Hide responses may manifest as many other avoidant behaviors too, such as avoiding conflicts. I think procrastination may also be a hallmark of being stuck in hiding mode, e.g. putting off opening letters and such. Conversely, the seek help stress response occurs when someone can't escape a dangerous situation on their own, yet the danger isn't so imminent that a full freeze response is required. For us autistics in particular, a stressful environment is detrimental. A while back I did some videos about catatonia, shutdown, and breakdown in autism, and I can link these videos in the description, but just one quote to point this out. The causes of stress, distress, and non-coping leading to catatonia, shutdown, and breakdown are often external aspects to do with the ecological factors. This can only be worked out by understanding the person's autism and needs and looking at the mismatch between their needs and the environment and milieu factors. Overlapped with the window of tolerance model, it shows clearly, as long as your environment needs are met, you are within your window of tolerance, you are grounded, flexible, open, curious, present, able to emotionally self-regulate. However, when you get stressed, distressed, and cannot cope anymore, you can either go into hyperarousal, which is the fight-flight, because you feel overwhelmed, and then anxiety or anger can be the result. Or, in terms of catatonia, you go into the freeze response, which is the hyperarousal, the shutdown, withdrawal, even shame, which then leads to more hiding. Depression can be a result of overwhelming environmental stressors, and you feel numb, and you will be absolutely passive, shell-shocked.
This information does make me wonder if what we call shutdowns are actually catatonic episodes, especially because some people in shutdown go so far as not moving for hours, and I would say that is a very classic symptom of catatonia. And I also do wonder if catatonia plays a role in autistic burnout. Of course, autistic burnout does have symptoms that are a little bit outside of the scope of what autistic catatonia is, but they both might see that skill regression and the loss of speech and loss of certain abilities, and perhaps that specific part might actually be autistic catatonia or catatonic episodes. Something to note as well is that those who were showing more catatonic or more severe catatonic symptoms often also had depression. So me personally, I have experienced many of the catatonic symptoms here. They were really scary, and I didn't know what was going on. And I do believe it was mostly triggered by depression. I have experienced chronic depression my entire life, thus the word chronic. And I began to get into a place where I was way in over my head. And so my coping skills as an autistic person were just completely crumbling, and then I had this depression on top of it, and I believe that kind of triggered catatonia for me. Thankfully, I have not experienced this kind of catatonic episodes and times, maybe symptoms that I did when I was depressed, since I have been seeking treatment and receiving treatment. I would commonly have issues where I thought maybe it would be falling under things like initiation. So you might have noticed that some of the things they mentioned were like not being able to start certain things or not being able to stop certain things. And you might think, oh, that's inhibition and initiation, executive function skills. And maybe catatonia is actually messing with those skills. But to the extent where I would be at the top of the stairs and I would start crying because I couldn't go down the stairs. There was no reason why I couldn't go down the stairs. It wasn't because I was scared of the stairs. There was no reason. I just couldn't go down the stairs. And it would really upset me. I would spin in circles and try, Stephanie, you need to go down the stairs. I need you to go down the stairs. Stephanie, I need you to go down the stairs. And at the bottom of those stairs were doors, and I needed to go past them to leave to my car. And again, Stephanie, I need you to just leave. Just push the door open. You didn't even have to twist it. Just push it open. It's one of those with a push bar. Just push it open. Just push open the door. You can do this. Like, I need you to leave. And I would have so much trouble with this. And it was scary. On top of all of those types of thoughts that come along with depression and things like that, I was experiencing just this inability to do certain things. And I thought that was interesting that they were talking about being able to like cross lines or doorways, because that was kind of what I was experiencing too. Like I couldn't get out the door, and I didn't know why. And it would take a lot. Sometimes I could talk myself through it, but it took a while. I might be spinning for a while. Then it would get to, finally I'm near my car, and I don't want to get in my car. And maybe this was partially because I didn't like my life situation at the time. I don't know.
It used to be called shell shock. I find that to be a very fitting term, because your shell has been shocked to the degree that you can't cope anymore. Autistic catatonia or shutdown, it's just another name for feeling shell-shocked, a reaction to overwhelming, often traumatic stress.